Hi YouTube, this is Mick from Mick Sport, and today's video is going to be called something along the lines of finish it or I'm finishing it, because I have a tendency to start a lot of paintings, as you can see from my work in progress shelf up here, and yeah, I need to start finishing some of these. So I have on the easel, on the table easel, I have a picture that I'm gonna hopefully finish in this video. In this video, we are going to talk about procrastination and dealing with finishing things despite it being hard. I, for one, battle with procrastination almost every day, and sometimes to a degree where I just stand in the bathroom looking at the mirror and telling myself to just do the one thing I'm supposed to accomplish for the day. And I'll return to that mirror a good 9 times as I keep running off to do literally anything else than the one simple thing I need to get done. It can be quite the challenge, and I know many people out there struggle with the same. I started this painting probably half a year ago or so. It was one of those days where I just wanted to paint, but I couldn't get going on working on any of the pieces that was already in progress. That's one point for procrastination. I didn't have a new painting planned, so I spent some time scrolling social media and found a random picture of some guy gazing off. Out through a window, I think. That's another point for procrastination, as social media can and will eat your entire day if you aren't careful. I spent a couple of hours on it on the day, and since then it's been abandoned on my drying shelf, just collecting dust. So I decided to finally do something about it. That's one point for me. Now, often with pieces like this, where I lose steam halfway through, I end up painting them over. But I felt like I had a good foundation for this one, and it would be a shame to not see it through, even if it would not be a perfect portrait. As you can see, the facial dimensions are a bit off and it looks kind of goofy. But perfection should never get in the way of making art and having fun. I chose to primarily work in glazing layers now that I continued on it, in order to preserve a lot of the good footwork I made from the get-go back then. If you don't know, a glaze in oil paint is just paint that has been added extra oil to thin out the concentration of the color. This makes it more see-through and is a very interesting way to work with the paint, as it still have the same high oil content to keep up with the fat over lean ideal. Otherwise, the paint layer would be in risk of cracking as the drying speed would be compromised. I often glaze my paintings, especially in the late stages, as it's a good way to give some nuances to the work without completely covering things up. This piece was painted on a piece of canvas board. I don't use canvas board anymore, but I still have a few in stock from back when I started, where I gathered a lot of cheap painting supplies to have in stock. These days I would prefer to use a wood panel that I had reclaimed from a piece of wood that I then sand and gesso myself, or a piece of homemade canvas. I do that because it gives me a sense of responsibility with the material. As I spend a good time and energy on preparing the painting surface, I won't just throw it away like a cheap off-the-rack store-bought canvas. I find that to be a good tool in fighting the procrastination and get a more personal attachment to the materials. It also makes it more personal to work with, which is an added bonus. Another added bonus is that recycling and reusing materials is good for the environment. Now that's one point for the environment. I've probably mentioned this before, but my current stock of wood panels are made from a couple of old shipping crates and some old shelves, and my stock of canvas is primarily homemade pieces from tote bags and old throw pillows and the like. But I still do have some commercial canvas from back when I started out, and I expect that my family and friends will most likely still be gifting me commercial canvas every now and then, because they figure it'll be a good gift for me. But in the future, I hope to be fully self-reliant on painting surfaces that I can find and recycle myself. I actually think that starting making videos for YouTube was what drove me to finish this piece. I don't know what it's called, but there is a way that starting new projects can make you finish old projects, especially if that's part of the new project. It's a bit confusing, but if you can find ways to close old projects as part of new projects, that will help with having energy that you lack when procrastinating. At least it does so for me. Some people might tell you to just push through, but for some of us there is a literal wall preventing us from going that direction, and having alternate routes to get to the same destination is a crucial tool. For some it helps to gamify the task. For me, it helps either if I have another task that's much harder to get done, so I will use the first task as procrastination against the worst task, or having something fun I can only physically do while completing the task that's being procrastinated. Now, truth be told, I am very relieved that I finally finished this piece. I do need the practice, and I do need to get more pieces done to build up some finished work. It's actually really important for artists to have a backlog of finished art to compare with, so you can see the progress you make. I know this piece is not my best work, and I know that in 2, 4, 9 years' time, it will be an awkward and hilarious thing that this was what I painted at this point. And that's a good thing. Artists need to take themselves less serious and have fun with the process. Even if the result is not very good, it is the only way forwards. Now I do need to get a lot more portrait practice down if I want to finish my family portrait series. It's a series I haven't even started yet, but I started painting a few years ago with the goal in mind that I wanted to have a full set of family portraits to hang in my home. And now that we bought a house, and that I have laid claim to a good big wall for that exact purpose, I better get going and get some of those family portraits started, if I can get around the procrastination of it all. Nah, I think I just need some more practice, and then I'll get my confidence up and the whole thing will get going. Also, when I do get a little more confident in my portraits, and a little faster, I would like to try and invite some friends over and paint them live, as you just don't get a lot of the same dimension and emotion from a social media picture as you do in a live session. At least that's what everyone's been telling me. Now that I finally finished this piece, I'm actually pretty happy with it. Despite its flaws, I do feel proud of it. It feels like I haven't really done a lot to it in this second session, but I will have the video to compare with. So, a shower and a shave later, and I finished that little portrait practice. You can probably see that even though I think I have some good fundamentals down, I still have a long way to go in my portrait practice, but I do want to become better at portraits, and the only way is to just keep going at it. So that's one more down, and I'm gonna keep at it. That's all for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe and have a look at some of my other videos as well. I recently started preparing for a monthly art vlog, so you'll have that to look forward to. But until then,